What is up, Flowmies? It's time for another edition of the ITF Flowcast. Now, we're going to call this interview a bonus episode because normally we record an interview and we've got, other interviews banked and we just kind of put them in order. But because this information is one, super important, and two, it has a deadline, July 5th, we are going to run it early. So one of our moderators, Sarah Vandermeer, she interviewed Amber Jones. Now, Amber has been a long time Flowmie. In fact, we've done an interview with her in the past. She's just a really knowledgeable business person and about a lot of different aspects. But what she's really honed in on right now is the recent laws that have changed that require us to register our business lines in order to be able to send text messages. So if you are a business owner and you have a phone line dedicated to your business, even if it's a cell phone, you need to have that line registered if you're going to be sending out business texts from it. It's a complicated process, but Amber has she's dedicated her time to teaching people on how to make sure their business lines are legal. She offers a lot of different tips. She kind of walks you through the complicated procedure to help you out. So that's why we're going to just put this ahead of schedule than what we would normally do. I know you're going to enjoy it. And if you're a business owner, you got to listen to this because it's got really important information. You can also follow Amber on Facebook and she'll give you more direction on her page as well. So anyways, without further ado, let's listen in on the interview.
This is another episode of ITF. I am your host today, Sarah Vandermeer, and today I am interviewing the most awesome lady around. She is a megastar. She runs multiple businesses, and she also has how many kids now? 4?
Yeah, 4 kids.
This is Amber Jones. Amber, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, first off, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. My name's Amber Jones. I'm co-owner of KJ's Window Cleaning. We pretty much service most like Frisco, near Dallas, for anyone that might not be local to the area. So near Dallas. And we've been in business, about 5 years. And I know that's not about me, huh? Okay. Co-owner, stay-at-home mom, goofball, wife. Like you mentioned, I do have 4 kids, so I'm trying to constantly balance that. But yeah, just an everyday mom, trying to be super mom, trying to be the support, the backbone to help support, what the goals of my husband and all of our family values and things like that. So, yeah, I know it's weird talking about yourself a little bit, but yeah, no, that's pretty much me. I do also I like to share a lot of things that work for me in our business. I am kind of a nerd, so I like the technical, like the back end technical things like that. And so I guess one of the things I love to do is just help make businesses efficient on the back end. And that just comes from sharing my own experience because we've had like 4 kids, right? And I always told myself, I never want my kids to feel like I'm choosing my business over them. And so that's kind of been like my drive to help figure things out to literally where I was like, okay, I need to make my business like push button for my cell phone with one hand because I have a kid in the other hand, right? So that's kind of like the backbone force behind everything that I do is just becoming efficient so that I'm always striving to achieve like this balance to where no one in my family feels like I'm choosing a business over them. So striving for that lifestyle, you know what I mean? Like everyone starts a business essentially to attain a certain lifestyle. And so that's kind of been our goal.
Oh, I totally know what you mean. We don't have 4, we only have 3, but that's totally why we started our business, Dutch Shine, is to kind of balance it out, have time with our kids, not have to work multiple jobs. Little did we know how intensive owning business
Man. Yeah. I don't think anyone's, well, I don't want to say anyone's ever achieved it, but I think it's something that you'll always be trying to get better. That striving for that balance. So I totally get it. And 3 is not easy either. Like we're still adapting to 4, but 3, just when we started getting used to having 3, the 4 came, I was like, oh, okay.
Well, from what I understand, you seem to be like the queen of automation and efficiency. every time I see you online, you're either posting like hacks for different softwares, like this is how to make this better for a long time. You were like, oh, this is how responsive it can work perfectly. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take notes. Anything Amber says, I'm taking that note. I'm applying it. She's got this thing down. But there's this new thing that I've been seeing you post about lately, and it has me all worried. I'm starting to check my stuff out now. Please tell us more about it.
Okay, yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah. So, what's going on has actually been going on for 30 years. And that is essentially, we're going to have to go back a little bit. Well, let me start from the beginning. What everyone needs to worry about right now, and what everyone is worrying about, and kind of even seeing, I'm even seeing more and more posts about this, is people's phone numbers coming up as spam likely from their business line. Okay. So, their business number, they're trying to call people, it's either coming up as spam likely or sometimes even blocked, and they don't even know it. Like it'll go straight to voicemail. The other things is sometimes text messages are getting blocked, and all this is happening pretty much to everyone across the board, and it's not any one thing. Essentially, let me rephrase that. So here's why it's important. So sorry, guys. So like this is my brain goes 100 miles an hour. So sometimes I'll go boo, 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 boo. So I'm going to try to slow it down. Okay.
Well, if your customers, don't know that you're trying to contact them, that is a huge, massive problem.
Yeah, it is a massive problem, and it's only going to get worse. It's really only going to get worse. And so I've been trying to make it my mission to help generate awareness to those in the home service industry about it, because as a whole, the home service business industry sometimes on the back end side of things on these, like no one wants to think about it, right? Like, let's be honest, right? No one wants to think about this junk, and no one says, oh, let me check my caller ID to make sure, you know what I mean? Like no one does that. And so, I'm so sorry. I can't multitask. Something popped up and there we go. Okay. And so I'm just trying to generate awareness for it because it's happening across the board, across all industries. It's happening to any business owner or entrepreneur that is using a voice over IP. It's called A2P, and I'll jump into that later. But that's the gist of it. Is there's actually deadlines now that are kicking in that are saying essentially, hey, we need you guys to prove who you are as a business, prove that you're not a spammer, so that we can allow your text messages and your phone calls to go through. That's essentially what's happening now, but it literally started in 1991. If we go back just really briefly touch on that. It is. Yeah. So in 1991, back before caller ID and all these things, consumers were complaining because there was this uptick in like spam calls where literally back then, and spamming back then was easy, like fraudulent calls were easy. There was no caller ID. Right. And so, so imagine, because I know we have some people that might be just listening. So imagine over here, you've got the consumers, right? And then over here, you've got the scammers. And so the consumers go to the FTC and they're like, hey, like, you got to do something about this because I'm getting scammed out of my money. And so they created what's called the TCPA, right? And that's essentially the whole goal of this thing over the last 30 years is to help prevent spam and fraud calls from happening and essentially help consumers only get phone calls from people they want to hear from, right? And not the scammers. Like that's the simple way about it. And so over these last 30 years, they started implementing these things to try to help combat spammers, right? And so they introduced caller ID, and then they introduced all these things, even on the back end. Like I won't get into the techie stuff on it, but they started introducing these things to try to, it's like a one after another. Like, oh, the scammer, oh, they're gonna do this, and so then the scammers get smarter. Oh, let's do this, and so that's essentially what's happening. And now it's just coming to the fan and to come into fruition because it's gotten so bad. I mean,
oh yeah,
as a consumer, like, and even as a business, we get so many spam calls, right? Like, I think they say on average, the average consumer gets like 16 spam calls per month. And then if you're a business owner, we're getting
that's like per day.
Yeah, exactly. So here's why it's important, guys. We know what it feels like to be a consumer on the consumer side of things, right? Well, the problem is, and why this isn't so important for business owners, is if we don't take care of this and do what we have to do, we're going to be in that same, they're going to like blanket us in the same people, in the same crowd as those spammers. Like that's essentially what it is. And so what they're saying is and then when I say they, I mean, this is coming from the FTC, the FCC, and the TCPA, the acts that actually put together. Okay. So what they're saying is, hey, if you are a legitimate business owner, it is now your responsibility to contact and go through your phone service providers. Let us know you're a legit company. Let us know, like, prove it to us that you're legit. Let us know how you're generating, like, how are you generating your leads? What kind of consent? Like, what is the proof that you've got contact? Like, we've got to prove that we have permission to contact, right? So it's a long story, but the thing is, guys, like I've got some videos and things like that. You can even Google this if you want. It's called TCPA. But what's happening is in the next 60 days, they're going to really start cracking down on text messages specifically for anyone that doesn't register it. And so I'm just trying to bring awareness to the industry about it because someone's got to do it, right? And so I kind of like put a screeching halt on everything else that I'm doing. I'm like, dude, let's help as many people out. If you don't have a phone number, you don't have a business. So,
and like I said, Amber is the tech lady. I follow her. I was like, okay, now I know what to do. And it's so funny you should bring this up because we'd been just, using our phone lines through like our cell providers before. We had not heard a thing about this. We just recently switched over to a specifically business line sort of thing. Switched over our phone numbers and they said, oh, you are not going to be able to text anything out unless you fill out this insane form. And it was very long. We had to prove that we were asking people permission to text them. And I would say probably 90% of, small businesses like ours are using just their cell phone. That's all they're going to be using. And the regular provider is assuming that they're just regular people. They don't realize that they're business owners. They're not informing them of these things. It's so awesome that you're taking the time out of your crazy schedule to help people like that. So tell me more about what can we do to make this so that we're not losing a ton of business.
Right. So, okay, let me preface this by saying, don't kill the messenger, guys. I'm just a messenger. I know it's a pain. It's like in the middle of everyone's busy season and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to think about this. So don't kill the messenger. But here's the practical things you can do. Okay, I'm going to try, but because it's so in depth and involved. So I'm going to try to give it like as easily as possible. Like, so the first thing you want to do is you want to contact your phone service provider. So whomever you are paying your cell phone bill to, not your cell phone, your business phone to, you need to contact them and say, how do I verify my business information? Because what's happening is we have a phone number. Now we have to attach our business to our phone number, right? So that's the first thing you want to do is whomever your service provider is, you want to contact them. Ask them if there's any way you can confirm what shows up on your caller ID. And even if you do that, like even if you say, hey, I want this to pop up on my call when I call, there's no guarantee that it'll pop up. But you want to at least try. So number one is contact your own service provider. The second thing you want to do is each of the major phone carriers, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, they each have their own database as well. So we've got to go to AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. And now you've got to report to them and say, hey, I'm a legitimate business. Please don't mark me as spam. Please don't mark my phone number as spam. Okay. So that's the other thing. You can go to freecallerregistry.com to do that. It's one web form. You fill that out. It's not 100% fail proof, right? Sometimes I think they say it only works like, 60 to 70% of the time, but at least, hey, you're taking some sort of action there. Okay. The next thing to do is, more importantly, is this A2P 10DLC. This is what's the text message. This is what what I call the slap, the phone and text slap that's coming, right? It's coming because like as of now, AT&T Mobile are officially charging more fees if you're not registered. And so starting July 5th, if you have Twilio, which behind a lot of the softwares that we use, right? A lot of the voice of like the phone numbers that they use. So starting July 5th, they're going to start like blocking gradually. And they've said if it's not registered and completed completely and approved by August 31st, they're going to completely block your text messages. So then that you want to go to your service provider as well and be like, hey, what do I need to do to make sure that my text messages don't get blocked? And each phone service provider has their own process, but they all report to a third party that's been put together by the TCPA called the Caller Registry. So step one, contact your provider and say, hey, how can I verify my business? Also ask them, how can I make sure my business text messages don't get blocked? And then step two is go to freecallerregistry.com and fill out that form, give them some basic business information to help make sure that it'll help you not be targeted as spam. So it'll help you that one time. Eventually what's going to happen, this is what my guess, I'm not official, but the way that I'm seeing the pattern is this is going to become it is a standardized thing. Like, I want to start a business. What do? You go get a DBA, you get a website, you set up your Google My Business or Google Business profile. Well, guess what is about to be the next thing? You need to register your phone number. Like, that's going to be a thing.
Did everyone hear
forward.
that? Amber has just saved y'all some serious money. Everyone who's using like text message marketing, you know you do it. I know I do it. This lady has just saved you some green.
Yeah.
Okay,
well, no,
so I know that a lot of us are like already feeling a little bit lost and a little bit scared.
Yeah. Yeah. It's scary. It is scary. I avoided it, so I get it.
Is there anything that you offer or that you can recommend for that business owner that is like, I'm already pulling my hair out, my season's already crazy, how do I address this? It's like have the time to do it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to protectmyphonerep.com, it's got like, I've got some information there. It's protectmyphonerep.com. And so I've got like it links to a Facebook group. I drop things in the Facebook group all the time. I've got links to my YouTube videos to kind of walk through. And then there's a little button right at the top. Well, it's not little, it's a yellow button that says, I need help. You click that button if you're just overwhelmed and don't know what to do, or quite frankly, if you don't want to deal with it. And I've fill out a form. I'll learn about your business, and we'll see if there's a couple of different options that, if you want to try to tackle this yourself, but you need a little bit of guidance, I've got that. Or if you want to say, Amber, I don't want to touch this, just do it for me. Like, I've got some of those options as well. So that's protectmyphonerep.com.
And we'll put that in the description of this video once we post it. It'll be in a few different places. But, guys, I don't know about y'all, but time is money. I've quickly realized that I can have someone do something for me, and I can be focusing on something that's so much more important for my business that is going to be bringing in, if you are out, trying to land a sale that's going to be $1,000 account, just have Amber help you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, I used to hate, this is the funniest story. Like, I knew it, but this has been coming down the line since 2021, specifically like these deadlines. You know, what's funny is I avoided it. I knew about it. And I was like, man, this sucks. I'm not going to look into this. I'm not a spammer. I don't need to worry about it. Right. And then over the years, I hated it, and it would make my eyebrow twitch. And when it started happening to me, like, we had our customers, like two of our customers, like, say, I'm sorry, I didn't answer your call. You popped up as spam likely. And that's when people take it seriously. What I am pleading with people to do is don't wait until someone else tells you, because guess what? Guess how many people probably aren't telling you you're popping up as spam before you finally it's like walking around with a booger in your nose, right? Like, or something in your teeth, right? Like, you wonder how long it was. If someone tells you that, you're like, how long was it there that like no one told me, right? Like,
and sometimes it can go both ways. We actually had a client that we were cleaning her house, but she owns her own business. It's like she's a nutritionist, but she works out of her home. And I had blocked her phone number because it came up as spam likely. And so, and I get like, 17 spam calls a day. It's just
Yeah.
what it is. And so I had blocked it, and she emailed us saying, I don't know what's wrong with your phone line. I can't get through. And then I looked at it, and
Wow.
it was that spam call that had kept calling. And I felt terrible. Of course, I unblocked it, but I told her, you've got to do something. Your phone number is coming up
Yeah.
this way. And so I can only imagine how it must be for her, for not only contacting, her clients, but then
Hmm.
also contacting other service providers or other people who need to do work for her as well. So now I'm starting to like double check that as well, because I run two businesses just like you do. And so
Yep.
sometimes I'm calling out from, well, my cell phone. We just recently split up the lines for that reason. But
Hmm.
you know, you just don't know how you're coming off to people, and it can
Yeah.
really make the difference. I mean, that can
Yeah.
be money right down the toilet.
It really is. And the sad thing is it's not a one-time fix or like a one-step fix. There's a lot of things going on in the background that I try to share, like in the videos and the things that I do. It's essentially, I'm calling it your phone reputation. It's literally, you're going to have a phone reputation score, and they're going to be watching all these things. Did you do all these registrations? They're watching your patterns. If you guys do text blasts, or if you do voicemail drops, guys, that can actually hurt. If you're blasting it out, if you go from like 20 calls to like blasting your 2,000 customer list, you're probably going to get flagged as spam, right? And so it's like this multi-tiered thing. And, I'll continue to try to bring awareness to people and things that you can do to help. The sad thing is, most of the solutions to this, like, because when this happened to me, that was 6 or 7 months ago. I didn't do anything because I didn't know what to do. I freaked out, but I didn't do anything because I didn't know what to do. I started researching, and like the only options were geared towards enterprise level companies that were doing like 20,000 calls plus per month. And I'm like, well, what about the little guys, right? And so that's kind of what put me in this like rabbit hole that I've been on. And honestly, if you guys hate it, I'm starting to enjoy it. Like, it is so weird. Like, I used to hate it. I've spent so much time reading and on webinars and calling, like, I'm starting to love it. Actually, it's like a detective thing. Like, it's kind of cool.
You've got a beautiful brain. It just like melds to like all these different things so easily. I wish I was more like that.
Hey man, I'm not evenly yoked. So whatever my defaults are, like that's where like there's lots of awesome talented people that help me with my weaknesses. So I get it.
Well, I think one of the things that us business owners don't even realize is that when we have softwares that are CRMs, whether it be Responsibid, whether you're using SendGem and the voicemail bombs or anything
Hmm.
like that,
Hmm.
it's using like a third party to push out, your messaging and stuff. And you could still get flagged that way. A lot of
Yeah,
them are using a Twilio number, like you mentioned, and we just don't realize it. We think, oh, it's set up, it's fine, and you're just
right.
not even worried about it at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
it's,
it's oh no,
oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. I was just gonna say it's so tempting because voicemail bombs and text messaging, they are so profitable. Like it's so easy to get caught, like picking up the phone, doing phone calls, text messages, voicemail bombs, like that is it's so profitable, it's leverageable, and so it's easy to be like, oh, I'm gonna do it. But and there's nothing wrong with doing it moving forward. Now it's just no longer the wild wild west, right? Like now we just have to play by the rules. And it sucks, but it's what's got it. I thought about this morning. I was like, this is like the OSHA of telephones, right? Like, like, how we have to abide by OSHA. And then there's going to be your people that get on a roof without a little roof thingy majigger. And I know, guys, I'm not in the field, so don't laugh at me if I use the improper jargon. you know, But that's what I'm comparing it to, like to help people understand like what this is going to be moving forward. It's literally like the OSHA of telephone. They just want to make sure you're doing things right, the right way. So,
And everybody's going to have to shift really, really fast, including those softwares that we use. I wouldn't be surprised if you're getting calls from all these softwares we all use saying, Amber, we need you to consult us on this, on how to
oh
figure
yeah.
out how to make this work.
Well, that's what's really cool about this industry is like I've been partnered up with a lot and helping with a lot of people. As a matter of fact, I'll be on Responsibid here, at the end of the week, helping them out. So like I said, it's all, if anything I can give to help, like we've been blessed so much in our journey where people just helped us. And that's all we're trying to do is just, pass on the buck and however many people we can help, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's me helping you or whether it's just bringing awareness. So you go YouTube it and, maybe you become a dork at it like me and, whether you want to tackle it on, I just want people to get the help, whether it's from me or wherever it ends up being. So.
Well, tell me more about how are you doing all this? Because you've got this going on, and then you've got KJ window cleaning. Well, Kelvin might be out there cleaning the windows. Let's be real. Half of business is not the actual cleaning of the windows.
Oh gosh.
All the other stuff that goes into it.
Yeah. So I chuckle because it's something that like I'm always working on and I always feel inadequate, quite honestly. Like I always feel like I'm not doing good enough or like I'm not balanced enough. So I'm not going to lie. It's a struggle. But one thing that did help me is because most of the front end of our business is push button, right? So someone comes through, we've got a very, very responsive like setup where, our quoting is online. So fortunately, because I set that business up on the front end that way, it's given me more leverage to do these kind of things. And so that's number one. But in all honesty, it's just a lot of adjusting. I guess having a baby and having to be up at 2:30 in the morning and you're like, oh, I may as well just research this, right? Lots of documentation of processes, so that way either I can streamline and automate it or I can delegate it. Oh my gosh, there's a spam caller right there. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
you're good.
using my cell phone for the Zoom. But I mean, it's always, I'm going to be honest, it's always a constant struggle for me. Like, and the other thing that is a struggle is just like as business owners, you want to get that technician out in the field so you can get off the truck, right? But it's hard. It's hard because you like it's your baby, right? And so
no one's going to do it the way you do it.
Exactly. But then you have your mentors and people saying, well, no one's ever going to clean or work as hard as you do. And you just got to let it go, right? Like you just got to get your A players. And as long as they can get 80 to 90%, like you know what I mean? Like I think what's that melody? Yeah. It's never going to be. And so I am honest. I do struggle with it. But in all honesty, another thing we did is we actually cut back our window cleaning hours to make more time for this because it's deadline sensitive. And so that was the other thing we did is we cut back Kelvin's hours to like 2 days a week. And then we partnered up with another company where once our list gets full, we send them, like some referrals. And so that's kind of what we've been doing with that.
That's so smart. I feel like we get to the point where our list is too full and then we're like, sorry, I mean, we do refer out a lot, but then it also depends on like what the area is because we service so much of the Metroplex and some people only do stuff up north. Some people only do stuff down south. But I think that's brilliant, like partnering with another company and just, being able to feed it that way. Do you have something set up with them, like a referral fee or something like that? Or how are you doing it?
Well, it wasn't even my idea. We just wanted to get, because some of them were like, if they're our old customers, we try to work that out, but sometimes they're against deadlines too. And so we try to match with companies that have our same values. And I could care less if I get money on the back end, as long as our people are taken care of, because we work really, really hard to put our best foot forward. Right. And so, I didn't, one of the partnerships, I'll never ask for money. Right. But one of our guys that we refer out to, he's got a business. He doesn't even have a website. He's like old school, old G window cleaner. He stays busy enough that he doesn't even need a website, but Kelvin met him in the field. And I really appreciate Kelvin for his attitude, because he's like, he gets excited when he sees other window cleaners, right? Like he doesn't have like that small mentality. And so like he introduced himself, and I'm so grateful for that, because this has been one of like our best connections. But yeah, that owner, he says, hey, I'll give you 10%. I'll just give you 10% of whatever you refer me. He's like, I don't want to take, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to take that from you guys. So that's for that issue. But even then, I still get nervous. Like, again, this is your baby, and if they came to you for a reason and you're passing them off to someone else. But that's worked out pretty well for us, actually. I was actually thinking too, I was like, man, we need to create like an apprentice program? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, for sure.
Like some high school or college.
Network.
And where I'm like, hey, yeah, we'll teach you. And if you want to start your own business, cool. We'll refer people to you, right? Like, that was one thing I was thinking about the other day. Just because we personally didn't want to go the employee route. Like, I know you guys know the challenges of having employees.
Oh my
and
gosh, boy, do
it's
we.
not forever, dude. I commend y'all. That I can't. Oh gosh, like I don't know how y'all do it. You say, you know how I do. I don't know how y'all do it.
It is definitely a struggle. I would say that for every 4 employees we've had, 1 works out. And that just seems to be very typical. Like, you just have to, I think it's a matter, and we're still working on this, of course, hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah.
And we had been so hesitant to hire people with experience because I felt like they were bringing really bad habits. And now we're trying to switch our mentality on it a little bit, and actually hire window cleaners that are moving to the area.
That's smart.
It's worked out so far well. We're really excited. We have someone who actually owned his own business in Austin. He's relocating to Dallas because he loves window cleaning. He hates being a business owner.
There it is. Like, yes. That's a match fit. That's a match made in heaven right there. That's really smart. Exactly. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm happy for y'all. Yeah.
We're happy about it, but we're always trying to figure out, like, how do we create better training programs? How can we onboard more people quickly? Because, part of that is like getting them to that spot where it's like Dutch shine quality, this is the way we do things. And then at the same time, not micromanaging or being overbearing, and creating that great work culture. But I love that idea of having like the really good system of subcontractors. Because right now we're like, I feel like we get to a busy point and we just give away business.
Yeah.
And it'd be so great to have like that little network, and maybe even just bid it at 110% so that you can give that 100 to your sub. You keep 10,
Right. No, yeah, I get it. Maybe we should powwow that later, because we've got some big decisions that we have to make too with our business. So like we're kind of looking at a lot of different things. So definitely we need to powwow on that.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. And I know that just being able to automate, to delegate is just so huge. It was funny you brought up Melody, because we used her service, HSVA. And we now have like the most incredible VA from the Philippines. He is so awesome. He's already starting to work on like SEO and marketing for us. He's like a Sigma 6 black belt or something like that.
Whoa. That's
if you don't know what that is, like, that is a huge designation.
Yeah.
And he works tirelessly for us. He's amazing.
Awesome.
And I could not be more grateful to her. She even like matched our personalities and everything. And it's giving me more time to work on our second business, which is Holiday Home Concepts. It's a software business for Christmas time. And we have another software coming out at the end of the year. So it ends up being such a great thing to have people be able to just take a little bit off your plate and give you that freedom to really work on the things that are super important to you and that give you that passion. And I can tell you are a seriously passionate gal.
I cry so easy. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, I'm passionate.
About family, about growing your business, about helping other business owners. you just seem to, not everyone's brain clicks in the same way where they can see things from a distance and be able to take it in all at once. And that's something that you're really able to do. And it's super
Yeah.
rare. Like, I got a feeling that you are the integrator out of you and Calvin, because I am the integrator out of me and Kevin.
Yeah, I feel like it's a blessing and a curse because I'm both creative and analytical at the same time. It's like like I literally have to, like, one day if I'm working on automation, I cannot work on the creative side of things. Like, it's literally two separate. My brain physically hurts. Like, but like, and so even with the software side of coming, like you're dabbing into the software, so you're probably like, I'm imagining you're like the visionary of it, and then like you've got the ability to delegate and all these things. So it all just comes with experience and failure. Quite honestly, it comes with failure. Like, I
Oh,
feel like
for sure.
I think I feel like I finally found my thing, right? Like, I love automation. I love writing email campaigns. Like, there's things that I love, but it comes to me naturally. But I feel like my passion to actually want to help people, and with all this phone things that's going on, like, I feel like that's why I'm so passionate about it, because you can have a business without automation. You can have a business without a website, but you cannot have a business without a working phone,
Oh,
right?
for sure.
And I think I found my thing. Like, and I'm not saying that the other things were failures, like, but I know, like, I have to laser focus on this because I don't think I even understand the complexity of how big this is. Like, every day of how many people it's going to affect. And, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but
No, you're not. Like, this is a deadline. It is happening. You guys have only got a very short amount of time left. And
yeah,
then, to try to do it after the fact, it's going to be stressful. At least everyone's hearing it from you at a time where they have a little bit of time to get this figured out. Not
yeah,
much,
not
but
much.
they can do it in a paced out way. It's kind of like knowing that your busy season's coming and not preparing it until you are
Yeah,
busy. No, prepare before you get busy. This is the
yeah,
same thing.
yeah,
Prepare before the deadline. Pace it
yeah.
out for yourself. Go to Amber's website. Say the website again.
Protectmyphonerep.com.
Yes, protectmyphonerep.com. Go there, get Amber's help, get this done now, and get ahead of it, and have that peace of mind that you're going to be able to actually reach your clients and get done the marketing and everything that you're going to need to get done. Don't wait till it's
Yeah.
already too late.
Dude, it's funny you bring that up. I hope you weren't trying to wrap it up, because I just I'm gonna involuntary. Like, here's the thing. Like, I want to mention, like, yard signs, flyers, all these things that you guys are investing in that have your phone number on it. This is why this is important. That's the only thing. I just wanted to bring that up because a lot of people don't think about. I'm like, dude, y'all, you just spent $1,200 on some yard signs, which is awesome. But I mean, what you're putting all these efforts out there, and anyway, it just, my mind
It
still is
only
just,
works if your phone works, people.
that's it, pretty much. But I think that's how we got off on the tangent, because we were talking about passionate and things like that. Like, I'm in the back of my head, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, what is this second software you're talking? Like, that's all. You said you're gonna launch a software at the end of the year. I'm like, what's that?
Yeah, we actually have a second software coming out. It is for landscape lighting. So kind of like the Christmas lights, but for landscape lighting.
That is
And that's going
awesome.
to help all those landscape lighters to do really quick, fast renderings, get them out.
That's super
So
cool to get niched down like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those things where I think there's a lot of people who do both, like window cleaning and, landscape lighting, or window cleaning and pressure washing, or, window cleaning and Christmas lights, whatever it might be. We all kind of do a couple of different things. We're really fortunate to live in Texas because we don't really have much of a down season here. I mean, there's a little
Right.
bit, but not anything like huge drops like there is in the north,
Right.
where they just
Right.
shut down for 3 months. But for a lot of people, they do have that downside. And so they are usually pairing it with something else just to kind of move things forward. And,
Yeah.
just having the ability to do quick estimations and get something really professional sent out to your customers can be a huge, huge help. So I know that
Yeah.
KJ does windows, but you also do other stuff too, right?
For the most part, in all honesty, we dabbled. We were doing a little bit of power washing and we were looking into the house washing. But we actually ended up partnering. Speaking of partnering, we actually partnered up with another pressure washing company that was more efficient. That, you know what I mean? Like we are a master of our own trade. And Kelvin is a solo owner operator pretty much. So we figured we'd rather streamline what we're doing and then bring in experts for the other side of things. So we offer it, but we partner up. And so we kind of explain that when people come through, like, hey, our partner so and so is going to be coming. We still use our automation. We still let them know the name of the person. Like we not treat him as if he's our employee, but we communicate with the customer as if he's like an official part of our team. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's kind of how we did it. We do it that way. The estimate comes in. We don't even do the estimates for that stuff. We say, hey, how much will you charge? And then and then we go from there. So but yeah, so from that side of things, that's kind of how we run the service side of it.
I think that's so smart. I think it's always a decision between, do you stick to your own lane or do
Hmm.
you try to diversify? And if you diversify
Yeah.
too much, then it's like you end up with too much on your plate at the same time. So it's really nice that
Yeah.
you're being able to just focus on that thing that is your, that bread and cheese, and then
Yeah.
let someone else handle the lettuce.
It's so hard though. Like it is so like as entrepreneurs, we are blessed and again kind of cursed at the same time. We see opportunity like everywhere. And then you got to have that discipline to like, no, like I need to focus on this, which is exactly why we decided, you know what? Let's step back from the window cleaning side of it. Because Kelvin was like, Amber, I need to support you on it. This is huge. Like I'm gonna support you on it. I want you to be able to focus. And so I'm not quite yet to the level of being able to juggle. Like we already have to juggle 6 lives in our house. And then however 25 many hats that you have to have just for one business, right? And so, you know, you try to do it all and then it just gets to the point where you're like, why am I even doing this? And then you have to take a step back and say, what's most important to me? And then you adjust, right? And you refocus and you readjust. And now we're to the point as what's most important to us, what gives us the most leverage. Like I'd rather have 10% of hands off money than 80 90%, however we would, of our own money. It's we're starting to like value time and energy
Oh, yeah.
as the most important thing, that like and then just trust that it'll all work out. That's kind of where we're at.
I feel like I do a lot of training for the softwares now. So I am talking face to face with other business owners on the daily, throughout the day.
Mm,
And so a lot of times, they've already purchased our software and we're talking shop. I'm not just training on the software, but they're like, well, how do you handle this or how do you handle that? Because I own a Christmas light
mhm.
business too. And
That's
and
crazy.
sometimes we end up talking window cleaning and other things too. And they say, well, you know, right now, I just need a faster way to do my estimates because I've got, I'm trying to do this and this and this and that, and I got to do the
Mhm.
installations, and I got to do this, and I've got to take the calls. I look at them and I'm like, okay, you're the one taking the calls and doing the
Yeah.
scheduling and doing the estimates and installing. I always say, you need some help.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
end of the day, look at how much money you bring in for your company. Business owners, they're bringing in hundreds of dollars an hour doing what they do because no one else can do what they do. but you can
Mhm.
hire someone to answer your phone. You can hire someone to, send out your emails. You can hire people to
Yeah.
do this, and it's a scary thing because you're like, oh, that's money, and they're not doing the labor part,
Mhm.
and I don't know about this. It's like if it frees you up to spend more time doing that $200 to $300 an hour thing that you are only capable of, then you are
Right.
losing money if you are not hiring someone to do those things that are a $17 an hour task or $15 an
Yeah.
hour task. Hire
Yeah.
people.
And the thing about hiring people too, and I think this is why one of the reasons why me and Melody connected, because you know documentation is so important. If you're worried that people can't do it like you, then document it. Like literally, like if you want people to answer the phone calls or handle conversations like you do, grab another cell phone. If you're doing it on your cell phone, put it on speakerphone and record it. So that way, like any good worker that you hire, they're going to want to meet and exceed your expectations. And if you don't have something in place to allow them to do that, they're going to leave. They're going to disengage or they're going to leave.
Oh,
And so,
for sure.
like, that's the thing. Like, I get so nervous. And that's why I appreciated what Melody was doing, because it's like, anytime someone is not performing, whether it's a VA or, a technician or whatever, you have to ask yourself as an owner, is it something I did that I could have done better to help them, to help prepare them more, right? Like, I used to get years and years ago when I first started getting like VAs to help with things. I'm like, man, this isn't working out. But then the reality is, how good of a boss are you? How good of a delegate? Learning to delegate is a skill, guys. Like it is a skill, and it's not a hard skill. You just have to be patient and record your stuff. Like you got to
It's
record it and
funny
document it.
because that's exactly what Melody has done with HSVA. I was like, I keep mentioning her. I was like, hi, Melody.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was drowning a little bit. And so I was like,
Mm.
Melody, I need your help. She's like, no problem. Check off all these things you would like a VA to do. I was like, okay, check, 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 check. She goes, now you're going to make videos on each about how you want it done. I was like, wait, what? Like,
Right. Right. Oh, wait, they don't come already ready. Like,
yes. And then so I was like, okay, I gotta do it. Took me like a few weeks to actually do. And
yeah.
I just did it whenever I had spare time. But then once I did it, she took all those videos and she sent them to my future VA. And then he watched the videos and created a process sheet for each video. And it's
Nice.
compiled, and he's made an online binder for it. And that way, when he's like our office manager and I have to hire people to help him, which I'm definitely going to have to do,
Yeah.
um, they're all set up. He's got this whole process down. And then he will go back and change a process if he feels like it needs to be changed and help us to find the efficiencies that we didn't have before and create better processes. And just being able to have that recording, even if you don't have the time to make it, you can assign someone to help you create that system for you. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
realizing now you can extend that to the people who are in the field too, not just the office staff. So I'm
Yeah.
really, really excited to just start implementing this.
Right. Right. It's a love-hate relationship. You hate doing it, but once it's done, you're like, this is nice.
Yes, you will love yourself afterward. Your future self will thank you for doing it.
And your
So
employees will too.
so this is your secret sauce then, Amber. It's all the automation and systems that you're making come together like magic
I wouldn't
to
even necessarily say it was that. It's well, yeah. It's a lot of things. Like, but automation means nothing without a plan, right? You have to know what you want, the end result you want, and then you have to find a way to achieve it. And that's a whole nother conversation, right? Like you have to come up with what I call the MVP, your minimal viable process, right? So what is the end result that you're looking for? And then literally take a sheet of paper. Like half of this stuff I don't even do on the computer first. Like I will never, like, even when we were talking about responsibility, we're talking about all these, getting a new CRM. I don't start any software without first writing down the basics. Like what is the end result I want to achieve? What are the steps that it takes to get there? What softwares can help me get there, right? It's so much. It's never just about, let me buy this software, let me buy this, let me hire this VA. It's never that easy. If it were that easy, everyone would be like set, right?
Yep.
And so I think, and the only way I learned this skill set was through my own experience, because, I suffered from anxiety and panic attacks. And I realized that a large portion of me getting over it was having to learn how to manage it and let go of things. Like, okay, what makes my eyebrow, you know what I mean? Like, and so I was able to hone that in and say, okay, literally inefficiency drives me crazy. Like, but it just comes with experience. You just got to get out there, get dirty, scrape up your knees. It's going to suck, but you learn and you adjust. And that, I think, is the story of every entrepreneur and every business out there ever.
Is there like a book or anything that you recommend that you're like, if someone's going to read a book about business, this is the one that helped me the most?
So, okay, this book is actually it's not directly the one book that I read over and over again, and I need to do it again. It's called Essentialism. And it's teaching you about how to say no. Like, like, I think of all the things, because we're entrepreneurs, like, heck, once we started cleaning, power washing and window, like we're like, oh, look at all this money out here. All these windows are so dirty, right? Like, and so anyone that came to us, we got excited about it. But like, you know what? Like, wait, so we had to take a step back, right? And so I think Essentialism has, like, that book, I got the audio book. That's been the biggest game changer for me personally, just because I get so excited and I see the opportunity in everything. And that actually, like, literally, it's one of those books that I feel like literally 100 pounds lifted off of my shoulder, because it reminds me, like, okay, stay focused, stay in your lane. There is an art to being able to say no. But another thing that he focuses on that I really like in that book is he's really big on, before you get enough information and look at it from all angles. So that way you can make an educated decision. And so that book right there, I know there's a lot of great books out there, Profit First and all these things like that. But me personally, developing as like an entrepreneur, that one right there. And as I speak it, I probably need to listen to it again. It's been about a year since I've done it, but literally, like, once a year, I'll try to read that book. And every time I read it, I'm just like, oh, thank you.
Oh, that makes so much sense too. I'm going to have to check it out, because I feel like it is so hard to say no to customers. I can't tell you how, like, I recently had to say no to a few customers who were wanting things that we didn't offer. Like, we could do this.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
it's not one of our offerings really. And we were like, well, maybe if we bought this equipment, or maybe if we did this, and we had to really
Right.
think about it and say, okay, think about all the things we're going to have to do to be able to offer this, rather than just focusing on the things that we do offer and making that the most efficient, best thing that we could do. And
Right.
so having to say no to it was really hard. And
It is. You're like, oh, are we
you
losing out on
feel
money?
like
Like,
you've
oh,
left money, right? But at the same time, if that means that you're able to take on a few more clients that are right in your wheelhouse, are you really losing money?
Yeah. And same thing, like he was talking to, like, about even just having a job or having a boss. And you have these people, like our customers, they're almost like family, right? And of course you want to be that person that, oh yeah, I'll be here when you need it for whatever you need. But there has to be balance.
Yes.
Because in the end, it's our families we have to go home to. In the end, it's our bodies that we're wearing out, our mind, all these things have limited capacity, right? And you have to start valuing what's most important at some point. Man, I sound old. Like, I sound
No,
experienced.
I mean, it's something we just have to accept. When we're young and 20 something, it just feels like we can just do it all. But you know, we're starting to have to prioritize what is most important. Like you were mentioning, you know, people have been requesting my husband Feba for like a lot of things. You know, they like our other workers, and they'll sometimes request them. That's great. I'm so happy when they say, "Hey, can I get, you know, this person on my house for this specific thing?" But they love requesting him or me because they've known us for so long, you know.
Yeah.
And we have to say, you know what, I unfortunately we're not available, but
Yeah.
I'm going to send you my best guy. They're fantastic, you're going to love them, and we will prep that person to make it that same personal experience. When we were servers
Yeah.
back in the day at a restaurant called the Melting Pot, they had this server training called the Big Night Out, and the premise behind it is that that host would take notes about things that were really important to that person. You know, is it a special event? Are they trying to get to a movie on time? Or, you know, what's going on with them? And that way they'd write it down on a card for us, and we as their servers would be able to make it really personal for them. So we have integrated that into our own business. And so when I have, you know, Miss Smith, who has Fluffy that loves to get out, but Fluffy loves to be pet, then we'll have that person come up saying, "Hi, Miss Smith. I'm so glad I get to meet Fluffy today. I hear Fluffy likes to run. Would you like us to start on a certain room first that you're going to put Fluffy in for the duration, just to make sure
That's
that we're
awesome.
okay?" You know, things
Yeah.
like that. Or, you know, you're preparing for a wedding for their, you know, their daughter or somebody. And that way that person shows up and says, "I am so excited to hear that Allison is getting married. I'm so glad we get to help you with that today. I know you must be super busy and things must be crazy. If there's anything you need while we're here, just let us know." And
Yeah.
that way they feel like it's personal, you know,
Yeah.
in
I'm gonna give
every
you a ninja idea. Okay, this is just me. Like you're speaking, right? Like, okay, okay, I'm sorry, this is just me, and I'm just spitting this off. Video is so powerful. If you got that one customer that you got to send a customer to, I mean, like your technician to, this is just an idea. I'm just throwing it out there. Dude, how cool would it be to pick up your cell phone and be like, "Hey, so, you know, we're coming, you know, I'm so excited that you had us booked. I just wanted to let you know we won't be there personally, but I wanted to let you know that they've got our stamp of approval, you know, just a 30-second video." Like,
I love that.
see what I'm saying? Just drop them a 30-second video, super casual, not professional. You know what I mean? Like in the car, in the truck, behind the computer, and it doesn't matter. Like use your cell phone. Don't do it professional. But just that personal touch is like, "Hey, you know what? I'm sending so and so over there. They're going to be awesome for you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to our team. I have the utmost confidence in them." Right? Like that was just an idea, but I
I
think
love
that
it.
would go really
I
awesome
love it.
if you have that problem a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely fantastic. I'm so gonna do that. And I was just thinking about it too. Like I was like it's starting, the wheels are turning in my head now. I'm like, okay, in addition to like, you know, getting it to be more personal, we could do like a little video. And then if it's a special event, we can send that tech with a little thank you card or whatever, or a
How
little,
cool.
you know,
Like a
congratulations or
congrats.
whatever.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we're coming up on wedding and graduation season. High five. We just came up with some really good stuff right there. How cool.
With our might
Awesome.
combined, we will be awesome business owners.
You know what? I want to take a moment to like, there are some awesome women in our industry. And I want to take a moment to thank everyone in the support that, you know, we're coming together. But also I want to thank not just the female entrepreneurs, but the male entrepreneurs, because I know it's not easy to put aside your ego. And for those guys that are out there that are like, you know what, that are just recognizing talent and skill in these different areas, I want to commend everybody, because in the end, there's enough out there for everyone, right? We all have our own special gifts, right? Like how much more powerful would we be if we like just combine those together, right? So I wanted to just put that out there too. It's been such a blessing, such a blessing.
And I think with a group like Into the Flow, it is just such a great space for professionalism and for that melting pot of ideas to come together and everyone just like hearing each other out on that great level. I think that's one of the reasons why I joined the group, and then why I agreed to help administrate the group, is because you just have that integrity and that virtue coming from everyone, and you really feel the support, you know. It just feels like an extended family, and I love it.
I'm glad you said that, because the other thing I like about it is any family, things don't always go right. One thing I like about the group is that there can be differing opinions, but it never gets escalated to that point. Like if it does get escalated to that point, it's like either the admin will kick in, or, you know, it's just like, dude, it's not even like some of the other groups out there, you know, it's just tit for tat, tit for tat, tit for tat. And like, there's not hardly any trolling in this group or anything. Like my husband was having truck issues, right? Like, and you know, I'm going to try not to tear up. God. I told you guys I cry a lot. You know, my husband was having truck issues, and, you know, we're an hour away. And the fact that he was able to come into the group and say, he literally recorded what was happening with his truck, and the amount of people that were in the group that were trying to help him, like, it wasn't even about window cleaning, right? Like, you know, we had a little bit of trolling there too, but it's like, hey, you know, hey, this is a window cleaning group. And, you know, but bottom line is the people in the group, they had our back. You know, we had water fed pole issues and all these things, and you can just drop a video. Now, I will say you still have to put your effort forward. You know what I mean? Put your effort forward, try to help yourself, because that will get you talked about. Like, don't come in here and expect people to hand it to you. But, you know, just the fact is, like, if you put forth effort and then, like, you ask a question, you will get genuine answers of people caring. And that's what's really cool about the group. And, you know, I can't tell you how many countless times that happened, you know, so that's pretty awesome too.
It's just become a great space of not only being able to reach out to people and be mentored from people throughout the industry, but to also be able to help others and mentor at the same time. And it's just really cool to be able to connect with people from everywhere. I think that this kind of industry, it can be really lonely, because you feel like it feels like you're doing it alone. Like if you're lucky enough to have a great spouse like we do, then you have your spouse, right? But you know, then you end up talking business morning, noon, and night at that point, right? And to be able to talk to other people who just get it, who really understand what you're going through and the struggles like no one else can. I mean, your family doesn't get it, your friends don't get it.
Yep.
People do. And it's a blessing, I have to say. And Amber, I know you are a busy lady. I just want to thank you for coming on today, for chatting with me about all this. And I can't wait to share all of this with the group. And we'll be sharing this with a few other places too. So thank you so
awesome.
much.
No, thank you for inviting me on. I really enjoyed it, and definitely love to powwow these kind of things all the time. So look forward to it. And any way I can support you guys in your venture too, man. Just, you know, we just got to keep supporting each other and keep it going.
Yes. Amen.
Well, awesome sauce. Thanks again so much for having me on. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Amber.